On the back cover of the book, An Angel Told Me So, is a message that Wilma Jean received. She had been praying, and she was asking if she really should put these messages in a book. Wilma was working around the kitchen one day, and these words to a message started coming into her mind. She picked up a piece of paper and a pen. She had beautiful handwriting, and she started taking these words down as fast as they would come. May I share this with your audience?
Of course.
And this is what Wilma Jean received in thought that she just wrote down as it was given.
That was the first thing she ever received?
Oh, no, she had received many things before, but this particular message she wrote down as a message that she felt was confirmation she should put these messages in a book.
Got it.
Emptiness is part of fulfillment. Let your resources fill the void left so that distinction of your purpose can be found. Expression is always self-explanatory. Therefore, look inside and anchor all your beliefs beside those still waters that will take away your troubled view and renew your strength to recapture that which was lost, but is now found to be adequate to pursue the course set before you. And as you reconcile your being to represent these qualities that have been left intact, God will see to it that although circumstances have been trying, to say the least, your weariness will disappear as clouds once removed allow the sun to shine to dispel the gloom and darkness that has pervaded your countenance. And as once described before, a token of this presence will be deposited to your account and books recorded in his name.
Wow.
And she felt that was confirmation that she should put these messages and teachings in a book.
Yeah, that's amazing. You said something really important before, and I think you said it more than once. So I want to go back and ask you about it because you did say that more than once, and I think it's really, really important. You said that she's been getting the messages in thought, and then you said, like most of us do. And that's like, you said it really quickly, but I think it's really important saying like most of us do. Are you saying that most of us receive messages that in our thoughts that we may not be aware of, or that those of us that are aware of it and receive messages, that's how we receive it? Like, can you explain that?
I believe that each of us are born with the innate ability, an ability that we're born with, to be able to communicate with higher teachers, spirit guides, angels, if you have a faith-based foundation and background. They don't care what they're called. They are happy to be able to communicate with us. We all have that ability. We're all spoken to on a daily basis. And there is a subtle feel there's a difference between a thought that we think and a thought that is incoming into our minds. Again, it's subtle, but once we realize and are able to know the difference, we're able to more concentrate and listen to advice and direction and guidance and support that we're given. But because we have that pesky little gift called free will, we have the ability to accept or reject any of this advice or direction that we're given, and are able to make decisions based upon our own emotions and our own choices. And many times we do that at our own peril.
I think you touched on something really, really important that we're not going to go into now, but I just want everybody to think about it, is where do thoughts come from? And perhaps they come from different places. They may come from our concerns, what happened yesterday, what's going to happen tomorrow. But according to what you're saying is that some of those thoughts are coming directly from a spiritual source, and becoming aware of it could change your life. So,
Each of us has our own personal thought system, like a little mini solar system, swirling around in our mind. And we can think whatever we want to think based upon everything that we've ever gone through, what we've experienced, what we've read, what we've seen. And we can accept incoming thoughts incoming information, or we can reject that information based upon our will. Now, anytime anyone is desirous to communicate with their own spirit guides and spirit teachers, you need to make that intention known, but you also need to establish a filter of protection, so that only thoughts of a positive nature will be able to come into your mind. You can think negative thoughts if you like. You can think anything that you want. But if you want to receive only positive thoughts, you have to establish that filter, and that is your filter of protection.
Okay, so by doing a ritual of protection and basically conjuring up the filter of protection, you're protected when you start this process of listening to messages that may come to you from places.
That's true.
Is that what you're saying? So you had a beautiful story on the first page of the book about the pillow. And I think it's really a beautiful story, but it's also indicative of how the energy of the whole book is. Can you tell the story of what your mother did with the pillow?
Sure, Tippy. On the front cover of the book is a picture of a feather crown. And Wilma Jean was working around the kitchen one day, not really doing anything special. And for one of the first times in her entire life, she heard a voice. And the voice said, "If you look in the pillow, you'll find a crown." She looked
Now, what's
around.
the pillow? Where did she get that pillow from?
When Wilma Jean's mother had passed away, my grandmother, Wilma had saved the pillow that she slept on. She had put it in a plastic bag and kept it on an upper shelf in her closet. And every now and then she would take it down, and you could still smell the smell that was my grandmother on the pillow. And so Wilma Jean was advised that if she looked in the pillow, she'd find a crown. And she didn't hesitate. She went to the bedroom, took the pillow down out of the closet, took it out of the bag, took a pair of scissors and cut the end of the pillow open. Now, this was a feather pillow, and this was at a time when there were no foam rubber pillows. People slept on feather pillows. And she reached her hand gently inside, and she found a feather crown about the size of a 50-cent piece, woven like a crop circle, so tight you couldn't pull a single feather out of it without trying to pull it apart. And you can do a little research online. Feather crowns, it was kind of an old wives' tale in Kentucky and Appalachia. And there are a number of reports of feather crowns being found in pillows where a Christian, a child of God, has passed away. And if she hadn't been spoken to that day, she would have never known that that crown was in the pillow.
So was this a confirmation for her that angel exists and they're actually communicating with her? Was that the turning point in her life?
No, she had known that angels existed for the longest time. She had been in a hospital from a car accident, and she had prayed, and she had woken up to see 4 beautiful, real angels standing beside her for just a split second, and they disappeared. And it was like they wanted to let her know that they had been with her all night.
Oh, so she already had experience with that beforehand.
Right. And my grandmother, who was in a hospital with sugar diabetes in Columbus, Ohio, she saw a vision of Jesus and was given words to a song. And she would be given words to songs and sermons that she would preach in church. But when she was in the hospital that night, she was given verses to songs. They're in the book, in the photo gallery area. And she was healed of sugar diabetes that night, lived another 15 years, and never took another insulin shot.
Wow. Wow. That's a great confirmation. So one of the things they told you a lot of things. You got a lot of messages from the angels. One of the messages you got was about that you're going to be exposed to great things in the future, things that you're not expecting to be exposed to. That was in the 70s, right?
Yes, when Wilma Jean first started receiving these messages in dedicated sessions, They started in August of 1977, and they continued for 22 years until the year 2000, when Wilma Jean started experiencing some health problems and was no longer able, to sit down and receive these messages and teachings.
Right. And so they told you that you were going to be exposed to certain things back then in 1977. Did that actually happen? Did any of the things that they say was going to happen?
It's actually happening now.
Now?
I'm right in the middle of it. And these spirit teachers, it's amazing. These messages and teachings started again, August of 77.
Right.
In March of 1978, Wilma Jean was led to sit down and receive a message. Now, she had only been receiving these messages for 7, 8, maybe 9 months. And one of the lines in this message that she received was, "Many will be the revelations concerning your book."
Mm-hmm.
Now, these messages and teachings would continue for 22 more years. She had no idea how long they would continue and had no intentions of writing a book. But 7 months after these messages started, these teachers are telling her that revelations would be made concerning her book that would be published 25 years later. I think that's amazing.
Wow. So are you saying that everything that they told you happened, or just the thing about the book?
It either has happened or it's in the process of happening. This book, Volume 1, has only been out a little over a year and a half.
Right.
Volume 2, as these messages and teaching continued, it's like the spirit teachers started spreading the word on the other side. And higher teachers started moving in, giving even deeper and more profound teachings, longer messages. So, and you can see the progression of the teachings as they move from Volume 1 to 2 and from Volume 2 to 3. So Volume 2 will be out probably end of February, middle of March. Volume 3 should be out by the end of 2021.
So before the end of this year, all the volumes are going to be out and available.
Yes.
Where can someone get a copy of the book right now if they want it? Volume 1, which is the one that's out.
If they go to spiritspeaks.com, there are a number of links where the book is available. They can get it on Barnes & Noble. They can get it on Balboa Press. They can get it on Amazon. Kindle.
Spiritspeaks.com.
Spiritspeaks.com is the website. Now, posted on the website at the very top is a television interview that Wilma Jean gave in Cincinnati. Posted on that television interview is a sneak peek from Volume 2 of the book. And this was the only time in a session where Wilma Jean was led to sit down and receive that 2 different spirit teachers moved in the same session, gave 2 different messages, and signed 2 different names. And it was obvious that the second teacher was a different teacher than the first, because the whole cadence and phrasing of the message is different.
Wow. So you can actually tell the energy when a different spirit comes in and talks, by the way they say things, by the way they relate it. You can tell that?
Oh, absolutely. Not only that, but these spirit teachers in these messages, they will either end a message with just a beautiful last tagline or a really deep, profound last paragraph.
Give me an example of tagline.
Well, all right, so the message that's posted on spiritspeaks.com on Wilma's television interview, that message was a short message, really profound, little more than a long paragraph. But this spirit teacher, the next to the last line, he says, "There are others here who wish to make themselves known to you, so I will step aside for this time. My love and devotion follows you as you trot onward, but ever faithful to your goal." That message was signed, "Your loving guide." Now, my question is, who are the others and where is here? What do you mean there are others here?
Yeah.
Where are you in relationship to where we are on this physical plane?
Right.
Now, the second message where the second teacher moved in, He gave about a page and a half, single space typed, but he ended the message with this beautiful last paragraph. May I share this with your audience?
Yes, please.
So the last paragraph of his message was, "You are not as sheep, herded here and there, but you are likened unto the lamb that is cared for individually, nourished and loved until the full and total development allows it to be master of itself. So is man so kept and denied only those things that would not in the long run nourish his spirit. God is all wise and loving in his dispensations. We are not to judge the workings of our Father, nor are we to judge each other. Work always to improve your own beings, for in the end time, there lies your soul, with all the nourishment that you have given it, totally dependent upon the outcome of your intentions."
Wow, I think that's beautiful, but also it's very timely for right now because you heard them being the people in control using terminology like herd immunization
Herd
or
immunity.
herd immunity, herd this and herd this. They really think of people as herds, and we're not. And I think this message is really relevant to that, to let people know you're not herd, you're an individual, you're a creation of God, and you have to think and take responsibility for your life, and not just act like a little herd obeying rules that may or may not be good for you.
That's
Right?
true. Although herd immunity really applies to people that if enough people are exposed to a certain illness,
No, no, I
they
understand that.
naturally develop an immunity.
No, I understand that, but the terminology of herd immunity, um, it's not just random word that somebody threw out. I think there was more to it because of the fact that we're not herd. It could have been any other word used. Why are they using the word herd? And a lot of the teachings that I've read that people have written, so-called elite, they refer to people as the herd, the sheep, the followers, the masses, like not really humans. And
Well, that tends to be the way professional, self-serving career politicians look at the rest of us.
psychopaths. Yeah, absolutely.
They,
So
we just don't matter.
yeah,
And
because we're too stupid to know what's going on. But now I think people are waking up and they do know what's going on. So I think this book has maybe more messages than maybe we're aware of, for them to use specifically that word, telling us you are not herd, you are not sheep. That's
that's true.
that's really important. There was something else that caught my attention. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah. Um, it says here on page 23, emptiness is part of fulfillment. And then you go on to talk about the still water and being silenced. I think in the Bible
That's
it
the
says,
message. That's the message that I read that's posted on the back cover of the book.
right.
That's the
So
one that Wilma Jean received in thought, working in the kitchen that day, that she felt was confirmation she should put these messages in a book.
right. And I like it because it's very relevant to me right now. And I think it's very relevant to a lot of people who feel like their life have been stripped away, and there's this emptiness that needs to be filled, and people tend to fill that emptiness with terrible television shows, or really being on social media all the time, and that kind of makes that emptiness even stronger and worse. So
That's
i think
true.
i think it's a great advice right now to tell people to take that emptiness and turn it into something beautiful.
That's
it,
true.
it really spoke to me. So there's so much in this book that I think every single person that reads it can benefit.
If I can, I have had a number of people ask if I receive messages, and
Uh-huh.
I did work with Wilma Jean in volume 2 when she wasn't feeling good on a couple of occasions. I was able to receive messages through me, and
Uh-huh.
she would write down the information. She would take it down rather than typing it. But when I was looking for a publisher for the book, I was on a publisher's website, and they asked a number of questions about your work. Well,
Right.
one of the questions that they asked was, what makes your material unique? Why would anyone want to read this?
Right.
And I thought, well, that's really a good question. I had never thought about it before. And as I was sitting where I'm sitting right now at my computer, an answer started to be dictated to my mind. And I just started typing down the words as they were given. May I share this answer with your audience?
Yes, please.
So the question was, what makes your material unique? Why would anyone want, why would anyone want to read this? This is the answer I was given. The uniqueness of any material is in the manner in which it touches the soul. An open and searching mind pulls the soul and the body in which it inhabits onward and upward with hunger and determination in its quest for spiritual nourishment, ever mindful that the path upon which we walk is the path toward God. Lives lived, experiences endured, goals accomplished, and loved ones lost are all encounters upon that path. Strive always for the highest possible communication with our Heavenly Father. Believe in yourself as the Father within you is guiding, leading, directing, and comforting you upon this journey that we call life. Blessings be upon you as you walk your chosen pathway.
Yeah.
And that was an answer dictated to me. And I remember when I got to the end, I think I said out loud, "Thank you, Spirit." And that was one of Wilma Jean's favorite expressions. When she would be given an important message or a high teaching, she would always express and acknowledge these spirit teachers and say, "Thank you, Spirit." And they ask for nothing more than our recognition of their existence. And they are more than willing to help us throughout all that we need to go through.
So when you get the dictation from them, in what format do you get it?
I receive in thought.
Yeah.
I have received in thought. I don't see words the way Wilma Jean did. I am spoken to on a regular basis. My dad had retired in Bradenton down in Florida, and I would drive from Ohio down I-75, 12 hours straight through. And Georgia's a long state, about 5.5 hours. And I'm cruising along, speed limit is 70, they'll give you 10. So I had cruise set on 80 and had the radio turned off, really wasn't thinking about anything. And a thought came into my mind and it said, "I'd slow down up ahead if I were you." I glanced in the rearview mirror. I didn't see anything, but I reached on the steering wheel, shut the cruise off, and let the car coast down to about 72, topped a little rise in the freeway. There sat a Georgia State Highway Patrol.
Wow.
Now,
Fantastic.
whether or not he would have pulled out after me, seeing that I was slowing down, and that, like I said, they'll normally give you 10. They may not give you 11, but they'll give you 10 over. But the fact that I was obedient and paid attention to that thought, and once I got past him and got out of sight, I ran it back up to 80 and again said, "Thank you, Spirit. I appreciate that."
Yeah, that's fantastic. A personal GPS detecting police around. What more can you ask
Well,
for? It's
you
about
know,
trusting your intuition. It's about trusting your thoughts.
well, and it was an incoming thought, not a voice, but just a thought that came into my mind. And that's the way it works. And everybody has this ability to communicate with their spirit guides and spirit teachers. We all do. And it's to our advantage to listen and pay attention. You know, I wouldn't buy that car if I were you. I wouldn't go out with that guy if I were you. But then we have that pesky little thing called free will, and we do what we want. And many times we look back and say, "I knew I shouldn't have done that. I was told I shouldn't do it. My parents told me, my friends told me, and I still did it."
Right.
And you pay the price.
Yep. You do. Whenever I've gone against what I knew I should do, and I've done it a lot, and I've always regretted it. Always regretted it. So it sounds like you grew up with your mother getting messages. Where is your mother now? What happened?
Wilma Jean passed away about 9 years ago. She had developed a condition in her lungs, a hardening of the lung tissue. She had never smoked, but she had been married twice and both her husbands had smoked. So that could have been a factor. But I like to believe we're still working together.
Are you?
Yes.
So you grew up with your mother getting messages and writing it down and sharing it with you, obviously, and also a lot of messages for you. How do you think that affected you?
Well, it wasn't until she was older and I was older that
Oh,
this started.
oh,
I mean, like I said, when I was young, I was brought up with a foundation of faith. My mother played piano at the church. My uncle was a fiery Pentecostal preacher. So Wilma Jean really did not get involved in receiving messages and teachings from spirit teachers till later in life.
oh, okay. So you didn't grow up with it. You were introduced to it as a young man.
Right. And I actually introduced my mother to it.
Oh, you did?
Yes, she was not real sure about all of this because she was a daily reader of her Bible.
Right.
And I, again, had become involved in spiritual matters and psychic information.
Mhm.
Um, I've done a number of book signings in Lilydale, New York, if you know where Lilydale is,
I think
60
it's,
miles south of Buffalo. And it's
yeah,
the
it sounds like
world's
it's upstate. Uh-huh.
world's oldest and largest community of spirit mediums and readers. It's been around for 144 years.
All kinds of stuff is going on in Buffalo. I think Buffalo borders with Canada, doesn't it?
Well, Buffalo's where Niagara Falls is.
Right.
Lilydale is 60 miles south of there.
Right.
Hour and a half drive. Back in a little community. It's an amazing community. HBO did a documentary on Lilydale that you can watch for free on YouTube. So if you go to YouTube and type in "No One Dies in Lilydale," you
Oh,
can
really?
find that documentary.
Ah, okay.
And I know all the mediums in that documentary. I stay with one of the ladies. Her name is Sherry Calkins, and that's who I stay with when I go up to do book signings.
Uh-huh. Oh, book signings for a book that you wrote?
An angel told me so.
Oh, for this book.
For
Ah,
this book, they have my book at the bookstore in
ah,
Lilydale.
ah.
And I was down in Florida. The sister community is Casadega, about 20 miles south of Daytona. And I was down there about 10 weeks ago doing a book signing there.
Wow. Interesting. So the book can be gotten on your website or Amazon, Barnes and Noble, all those places too?
If they go to my website, there are links to Amazon,
So
Balboa Press,
everything.
Barnes and Noble, Nook, and Kindle. And then if they
Okay,
scroll down to
give us your website again.
spiritspeaks.com,
Okay.
spiritspeaks.com. And if they scroll down to the bottom of the homepage, they'll see the book cover with a 2-paragraph description that I wrote. If they scroll just below that, they'll see a link to the public Facebook page where there are excerpts from volumes 2 and volumes 3 that I've posted on the Facebook page.
Okay, great. That sounds like a really easy way to get a hold of it. And when do we expect the other book? You did say it was coming soon. You said,
Volume 2 should be out the end of February, by middle of March.
okay.
And I hope to have volume 3 out by the end of this year. We're in 2021.
Oh my God, I can't even believe it. Looks like you're gonna have a nice, busy, and productive year. And I would suggest for everyone to really sit back and read this book, not only because I was inspired, and just because I'm inspired doesn't mean anything, but right now, in this moment of time, after 2020, that has been so hard hit for us, we all need a lot of spiritual lifting. We need to infuse this planet with light because it has been hit really hard by darkness, for lack of a better word. And reading this book, I believe, will help change your energy and raise your vibrations enough for you to be able to make the right decisions and not be afraid and not worry about what's going to happen, knowing one of the big themes that go throughout this book is the knowledge that you are watched and you are loved and you are protected all the time, that whether you see it or not, you are surrounded by love and spirits rooting for you to succeed no matter what happens. And even if you think that bad things are happening, the worst thing that you think that are happening to you could be the best thing happening to you. And that's why I love that specific sentence where you say emptiness is not necessarily a bad thing. It could actually be a good thing when you feel the emptiness. So I think it's very timely that you published it right now, because I think right now is when we need it the most. You could have published it in 2015, you could have published it in 2016, and it would have been beautiful anytime. But right now, it's not just beautiful, it's the best medicine that we can have. So I will say, do not take the vaccine, take this book instead.
Well,
I don't
thank
know
you,
how,
Tiffany.
I don't know how you feel about the vaccine, but
Well,
I'm
no,
so
my
worried.
daughter is a nurse practitioner.
Hmm.
She manages an urgent care clinic, and she was given the vaccine about 2 weeks ago.
Hmm. And
No
she's doing good.
problems, none, no problem whatsoever. I mean,
Beautiful.
she's a COVID-19 test center. So she was, being on the front line, she was one of the first people. I think she had the Moderna vaccine, no problem at all.
Is
No
she
problem at
scheduled?
all.
Is she scheduled to take another one?
Yeah, in I think 10 more days, they get the second dose. And she's had no problems, no side effects, didn't feel a thing. She said her arm was a little sore 2 or 3 days afterwards, but other than that, she's been fine.
Beautiful. I heard that with Moderna, we had 20 to 21% people with a reaction. 21% is a huge percentage, but obviously it's not everybody that's going to have a reaction. I pray that she'll be good after the second one as well. But
And these messages and teachings, one of the most important things that they do, other than give people support and guidance and direction, is to let them know that they're not alone, that they have their own spirit guides and spirit teachers that they can communicate with in real time. So by reading these messages and teachings and seeing what was given and being able to apply these teachings to their life, they
right,
can then go forward and communicate with their own spirit guides and spirit teachers as well.
exactly, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I think, in a certain sense, we all know that we're not alone. But I think we also totally block it out. And that's why we get afraid. And that's why we do things that are motivated by fear, because we forget. We forget what we already innately know. So thank you so much for publishing this. This is really beautiful. And I'm hoping that you let us know when you're ready with the second one and the third one eventually.
Absolutely. Hopefully, when I get volume 2 out, we can get back together and we'll discuss that.
Sound like a great idea. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Tippy.
Doc, we love to bring people with messages that are unique and different. And as unique and as different as this message is, which it is, there's also that knowledge within that message that you are unique and you are special and you are different too. And if you apply, then you could actually also receive messages if that's what you wish. So there's a double thing here with, yeah, this is a great message that you got specifically for your mother, specifically for you, Michael, but also for humanity. And so it's kind of keeps expanding. The more you look at it, the more it expands. Yeah, it's for me, yeah, it's for you, but yeah, each and every one of us is a spiritual being.
That's
It's
true.
beautiful, very, very beautiful. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you coming here. This is Tippy Felsenstein from Tippy Talk, talking today to Michael McAdams about his book called An Angel Told Me So. And we bid you a very good night and much blessings. Thank you.